So hi everyone, welcome to Bharat Alternates. Today we are at one more episode. Hi Rajesh, welcome to our channel. So Rajesh,
Thanks, Gitash, for
thank you so
having me
much.
here.
Yeah, thank you. So what we do, we sit down with the fund managers, we talk about their strategy, and also we talk about what's happening in the global space. Just to give a little background, Rajesh Singla is a head at VentureX. He's the founder and the fund manager at Planify, and also he's now managing X, which is their Alpha AMC. So hi Rajesh, you have been receiving a tremendous response from investors in your SME fund. So welcome to our channel.
Thank you, Gitash, for having me here.
Thanks. So the idea today is we want to talk first about what is happening in the global scenario, geopolitics, geopolitical tension which is going on, and then we want to understand the SME opportunity in India, which is about to happen or is happening in India because India is going through a change, and a lot of SMEs companies are also getting listed now. So, and then we can talk about your strategy, how you manage, and then we can have some closing remarks from you. So, firstly, if
Right,
you can throw some light on the geopolitical tensions which is going on, and investors get worried. So, how do you want to give a comfort to the investors?
right. So, whatever is happening right now, be it the Israel-Iran war, and earlier we heard about Venezuela, America taking over Venezuela, na? Everything is uh, actually everything is leading towards, Patab, if you see, this is all the repercussion of the US debt crisis. From
Okay.
September 2024, it has started unfolding. Right now, US has a debt of close to $38.5 trillion dollars. And in order to repay it, they're trying to do a lot of stuff. Earlier, we have heard about Trump's doing this additional tariffs on other countries, but that has led to a revenue of close to 200 to 250 billion dollars. Whereas in the interest rate itself, they need to pay close to 1.8 1.9 trillion dollars. So first of all, after doing everything, one thing they realize that it is not going to work out. The tariffs are not going to work out. So now they are trying to take over some of the sovereigns in order to make sure that every country which is trading in oil, which is supplying oil to the countries like India, China, basically the energy consumption countries, they need to trade in dollars. So earlier, Venezuela were fine taking money in rupee terms, in yuan terms. So they basically bashed Venezuela. Now the same thing was even happening from Iran from the last few years. And that is the reason they are trying to take over the Iran thing. But Iran is not a small country,
Okay.
and they have a history of taking wars for a very long run. Last time around, when we saw that happening, the war extended from 1983 to 1991. So the Middle East war, this time around also, if it extends, like we have seen for Russia, Ukraine as well, even after 3 years, earlier how it was panning out in the beginning, it was ki maybe Russia will take over Ukraine in maybe couple of weeks. But even after 3 years, the war is still going on. Same thing could even happen even for Iran Israel war, and that can actually lead to much more trouble in the coming times, especially in the next 3 months to 6 months. That can actually trigger a lot of havoc in the market, especially LPG being one of the, like India being consumer of LPG, which is basically coming from this Strait of Hormuz.
Hmm.
And because there are 5 countries which are supplying LPG, so that is one key concern area even for India, and that is going to have an impact. We have already seen crude trading from $70. It has started trading above $90 today, and in fact, in the middle of this week, in the beginning of this week, actually touched $120. I'll not be surprised if this war extend, and because the transportation of these ships is not happening, it may actually even eventually touch 150 to even $200. And this will have a serious impact on India, because India has been a country where we have been importing oil, although we may not get a direct impact, as in earlier we were having a concessional rate from Russia, where we were buying oil from Russia. While the crude was trading anywhere between 75 to $80, they were providing us anywhere between 60 to $65. So similarly, now this deal has changed from Russia to Venezuela, basically where we have tied hand with the US. And what I believe, this is my personal feeling that the deal might have happened even concessional to the Russian oil rate. And so for America, whatever diesel or whatever crude is coming from Venezuela is basically free of cost. They need more and more of dollars. So for them, it is actually good that they are able to sell that oil. And for India, it might actually be quite beneficial in the sense, even if crude increases in the global market, India might still be able to get the crude at cheap prices. So from that perspective, we may not have a direct as much impact as the other countries, but this is going to severely impact the other countries. Similarly, for so what one of the key aspect where we are still exposed is the gas. So LPG gas, CNG gas basically run a lot of restaurants, a lot of hotels.
Right.
So this is one area, key concern area. In Delhi NCR itself, they have LPG already. So that has been personally, I have seen that happening. Means it is not only a rumor. Like if you call now today to book an LPG gas cylinder, they will not take the booking. So this has already, so in just in couple of weeks, it has already started getting impacted. Like the tier one cities have already started getting impacted, and this will further escalate. So this is one key area of concern, what I believe for the government of India. And let's see how they come up with any solution. We will need to have more reserves coming on for CNG, for LPG from other countries. Let's see how they crack it. For crude, I still believe we are still in a safe zone where we have a lot of countries, be it Venezuela, even Russia, who will be happy to provide us crude. So even if the rate of crude increases in the global markets, we may still not be impacted, and that will not impact the inflation and other stuffs as well. But as far as gas is concerned, I think there could be concerns which needs to be addressed in the next couple of weeks. Let's see how Indian government take that out.
Yeah, correct. I think that's a fair explanation to let's see what happens in the on the prices of the crude oil. So now let's understand that you specialize into unlisted securities and especially the SME companies. So how big is the SME opportunity in India if you can throw some light on that?
So you see, in India, SME started. So India is second country after UK to have an SME exchange.
Okay.
We so in 2012, so we SEBI basically threw a framework on SMEs where BSc SME got formulated in 2013 and NSE SME got formulated in 2014. And in first 5 6 years, it took them some time to get the ball rolling. Only 50 60 companies were listed. But now, if you see, every week there are about, on an average, 5 companies coming and getting listed on an SME exchange. So
Okay.
in total, in last 12 13 years, there are about 1,417 companies which have got listed, and they have raised somewhere close to 33,000 crore, which is a serious money. So 33,000 crore, which they have raised, and total market cap of this SME sector, all these SME companies, is more than 2 lakh 10,000 crores, which is again serious money. And overall, every fourth company in this SME space has given more than 30% CAGR return. And every fourth company has already migrated from SME to main board. Like the companies are able to scale well, and this is actually playing out really well. So so this is the reason, because there is a lot of potential in SMEs. We have actually come up with our SME fund. If you want, I can put that in detail. Matlab, I can explain this in detail as well.
Yeah, you can explain in detail. In fact, I was reading before this, webinar that around 30% of the GDP, which is, there, is contributed by MSME companies only.
Absolutely right.
Right. So maybe if you can share your screen and explain the, your offering, that
Sure.
would be really helpful.
Let me do that. Is the screen visible?
Yeah, yeah, it's visible. Yes.
So you can see as on the screen, like so we represent Alpha AMC. I'm one of the founder and fund manager in Alpha AMC. So Alpha as in finance represent है ना, to give better returns than the benchmark, and that is what we are basically catering towards in Alpha. We want to have products which can actually give differentiated returns to the investors, which are yet not available with the big AMCs because they have not done their research on the areas which are yet not like publicly available, or in the sense it is not well renowned. The research is not available to every AIFs or the big AMCs. As I said, SME companies, SMEs in across the world, there are only few countries to have an SME exchange. So this is quite a unique proposition as far as India is concerned. We are the first one to bring an SME focused fund, which is working while working on this SME exchange. So the first question people generally ask me is, ki, first of all, ki, what is the difference between AIF, mutual fund, and PMS? So I'll take a minute to explain this.
Yeah.
See, in PMS, so we'll start with the very basics. So in
Okay.
PMS, we generally see, so the PMS is the base most license provided by SEBI. So in PMS, you can basically buy shares from the exchange, and then you can actually try to reduce returns. So fund manager has to buy shares from the exchange, and only through the secondary sales, whatever shares he have bought, he can actually try to generate the returns for the investors.
Right.
Here, as an AMC, his contribution, like the AMC, does not need to contribute anything. Whereas in the PMS, minimum investment for the investor is 50 lakh.
Okay.
If we compare this with a mutual fund, this is the second degree of the license which is provided by SEBI. So in mutual fund, you can obviously invest through secondary sales in the secondary market through the exchanges, but you can also invest through main board IPOs. You can sit as an anchor investor. So in IPO, you would have seen three quotas: retail, HNI, and institute. So as
Right.
an institute, you can get confirmed allotment from a merchant banker. Merchant banker is a person who basically bring in the IPO. So
Right.
you can sit as an anchor investor in the main board IPOs. Again, mutual fund does not have the permission to sit in invest to do investment in SME IPOs, as well as they do not have permission to invest in pre IPOs. So
Okay.
as an AIF, you have all these four options available where you can invest in the secondary market. You can invest. You can also do main board IPO anchor investor. You can also do SME IPO anchor investor, as well as you can do the pre IPO. So for mutual fund, the AMC has to contribute minimum 50 lakh rupees per scheme.
Okay.
Whereas in the contribution from an investor is minimum 500 rupees. There are few AMCs who is even taking 100 rupees from the investor. So basically, it is a retail product.
Okay.
Whereas in for AIF, it is basically a HNI, ultra HNI product where minimum contribution from the investor is minimum 1 crore. And
Right.
AMC has to contribute minimum 5 crores. So
Okay.
if you see skin in the game for an AMC, for PMS it was zero, for mutual fund it was 50 lakh, for AMC it is 5 crore. So the skin in the game is maximum for an AMC in AIF.
Got
Similarly, skin in the game even for the investor is maximum in AIF, because in PMS it was 50 lakh, mutual fund it is 500 rupees, here it is 1 crore. So this is the basic difference of what all are available in alternates or where they can invest in AIF versus the difference between PMS and mutual fund. Now, the second question which generally people ask is, Rajesh, in alternates also we have a lot of options. We
Right.
could have, so in AIFs, you can basically do private credit, you can do real estate, you can do SMEs, you can do startups, you can even do listed hedge funds. So, why did we pick SME focused AIF approach? The
Right.
answer to that is the returns it is generating. So, it supersedes all the returns across whatever AIFs categories are available. So, I'll explain this with an example.
Okay.
What we have done here is we have taken Nifty 50, which is basically Nifty large cap. Then we have taken Nifty small cap, and then we have taken Nifty SME. These are
Okay.
all Nifty indices. And we have compared these returns in the last 5 years in absolute terms as well as in CAGR terms. Absolute is ki if I put the money in lump sum, what is the
Right.
kind of returns it has generated? And CAGR is compound annual growth rate. So what is the return index have generated every year? So if we actually see, first thing which we can observe here is that SMEs have outperformed small caps and small caps have outperformed large caps every year. There is not even a single year where there is no this outperformance is not visible. Even if we extend this chart from 5 to 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years, the results would be same. Now let's
Okay.
see how much is the outperformance. Let's say if someone would have invested 1 crore, in 5 years, it has generated a return of 750%, which means 7.5 crores.
Right.
Versus if someone would have invested in small cap, it has generated 1.5 crore. Whereas if someone would have invested in Nifty large cap, it has generated 87 lakh.
Right.
Now the difference between 1.5 crore and 7.5 crore is already 6 crores, which is five times. And
Right.
the difference between 87 lakh and 7.5 crore is already 6 crore 60 lakh, which is already almost eight times. So in just 5 year tenure, SMEs have given five times more return than small cap and eight times more return than large cap. This is the reason why we ask investors that the HNIs and ultra HNIs to look at SMEs while they create their portfolio to have an exposure in SMEs. If we again compare the CAGR return in the last 5 years, so Nifty has given return of 13% versus 20% in small cap. So there the difference is almost 6-7%, which is almost 50% up. But the difference between 20% and Nifty SME index, which is 53%, is already more than 250%, like more than two and a half times. So again, this is the reason why we ask investors that they should consider SMEs for investment. Now there is an interesting thing. Here
Okay.
we have charted out Nifty, all that taken the all that Nifty indices. There is also BSE SME index which is available. If
Okay.
you go and search in the last 5 years, the same 1 crore investment which has become 7.5 crore in Nifty SME index have become 68 crores in BSE SME. Now, if I tell someone this कि 1 crore का investment 68 crore हो जाएगा 5 साल में, so people will say, "यार, are you mad? मतलब, how can this be possible? Or
Right.
what? Where are these kind of returns getting generated?" Generally, people tell us कि ये ऐसे returns या ऐसे पैसे तो if someone would have invested like our father time किसी ने कोई 20-30 साल पहले या 50 साल पहले इन्वेस्ट किया कि किसी के ग्रैंडफादर ने या फादर ने वही उसी ने ही ऐसा पैसा बनाया. But the reality, harsh reality is these kind of returns are even getting generated these days also. But
Okay.
we are not aware about it. So anyways, 7.5 crore is not a small sum. In
Right.
generally mutual funds में लोगों का perception क्या रहता है कि in 4 to 5 years time horizon, at least in 5 year time horizon, their money will get doubled. So
Right.
in 5 years, you're not doubling your money, you are already making it four times more. मतलब 7.5 गुना is already मतलब already मतलब it is है
You
ना
can say
from
two, three
two
times
it is
more.
already 3.5 times more than the mutual fund returns. But now if I am saying 68 crores, so 68 crores तो और भी insane returns है. So while you invest in a fund, you will end up investing some companies in NSE, some companies in BSE. So the return anywhere between 7 to 68 crore, the swing is very big and it can actually generate a lot of wealth for the investors. That is what we basically want to specify here.
Right.
And BSE SME index have generated a CAGR return of 133%. So again, matlab, it sounds too good to be true, but this is the reality that it is actually getting generated. That this kind of returns are getting generated. Now, this is the second slide which I talked about earlier, like 1,400 companies
Okay.
raising close to 33,000 crore. Their market cap is more than 10 lakh, 2 lakh 10,000 crores. Every fourth company has given a return of more than 30% CAGR, and every fourth company has already migrated to the main board. So these are top few companies which we have listed here. You can see DP Abhushan. So this is one company which is from Ratlam, Madhya Pradesh. It's a tier two town.
Okay.
Having two, when they came up with their IPO, they were having two jewelry stores, having a revenue of close to 300 crores per year. Now their revenues has jumped in last 8, 9 years. It has jumped to 3,600 crores, and they are having 11 stores right now. The stock price have become 53 times. 1 crore investment has become 53 crores, giving a CAGR return of 62%. The second company, Knowledge Marine, it is company based out of Mumbai, and they basically do dredging services. Now, dredging services is simple, where you basically try to take out the soil beside up underneath a underneath a port, so that big ships can come in and dock. So
Okay.
they do this, they provide this service. And in just last 5 years, the share price have become almost 48 times. 1 crore investment has become 48 crores, giving a CAGR return of 124%.
Okay.
Concord Control System is basically from Lucknow. They provide railway kavach.
Okay.
Again, in just 3.5 years, the stock price has become 48 times. Similarly, if is and giving a CAGR return of 230%. Similarly, if we see look at the other companies, Warren Renewables,
Yeah.
like this is the first SME company. That is the reason we have listed it here. The first SME company to get listed. Warren itself is now a very big brand. Warren Energy was the most subscribed IPO है ना,
Correct.
ever
Correct.
in Indian history. So in just 14 years, the share price have become 42 times. Nintex System is again from Ahmedabad doing cloud computing. When their IPO came, the total valuation of the company was 12 crores. Today it is close to 1,000 crores. And 1 crore investment has become close to 40 times, giving a CAGR return of 46%. Now we actually draw down all these 354 companies which have given more than 30% CAGR. First, 50, 60 companies will be more than 10x, which would have provided a more than 10x return in a time horizon of roughly anywhere between 4 to 5 years, which is more than 60% CAGR return.
Okay.
And that is what we are basically targeting. Now, a lot of times people tell me, "Ki, Rajesh, we have heard about Vori. Now even Concord is becoming popular, but we are still not heard of the other company names." So we'll tell them, okay, let's talk about the companies which you have heard. So we'll talk about the companies which are today considered to be blue chips, but these were also SMEs when they came up with their IPO. The
Okay.
first example here is Eicher Motor. So I've taken few examples. This list can go on and on. So first
Right.
example is of Eicher Motor. When the company came up with their IPO, the total valuation of Eicher Motor, the company which basically formed Bullet, was 35 crore.
Right.
And in 33 years, 1 crore investment has become 6,200 crores.
Okay.
Similarly, Asian Paint, when they came up with their IPO in 1982, the total valuation of the company was 135 crores. Today, it is close to 2,25,000 crore, and 1 crore investment has become 1,900 crores.
Okay.
HDFC Bank, when they came up with their IPO in 95, the total valuation of the bank was 400 crores. Today, the total valuation of the bank is close to 14 lakh 75,000 crore, probably the third or fourth biggest company in India. And 1 crore investment has become close to 1,900 crores. Similarly, Reliance Industry तो इंडिया की मतलब largest company है, having a
Right.
market cap of 19 lakh crore. Similarly, Divi's Laboratory 2003, when they came up with their IPO, so a lot of people will be actually active while they will be even watching this video. They would be actively
Mhm.
uh, watching the markets, or at least they would have matlab they would be born like it has happened in front of us. In 2003, Divis Laboratory come up with their IPO at 140 crore valuation. Today it is trading at 1,75,000 crore market cap, and 1 crore investment has become close to 950 crores. Similarly, Infosys in 1995, 150 crore IPO. It was not even subscribed fully. Like Morgan Stanley gave 13 crore to basically bail out the IPO. And
Right.
today, the total valuation of the Infosys is close to 5,50,000 crore. And 1 crore investment has become close to 270 crores. Maruti, we have taken one example rather than less than 500 crores. We have taken an example less than 5,000 crore market cap company. So
Right.
Maruti in 2003, it is basically Gurgaon-based company. When they came up with their IPO, the total valuation of Maruti was 3,600 crores. In just 22 years, it has become close to 5,25,000 crore. And 1 crore investment has become close to 133 crores. And the
Great.
last company, Page Industry, the jockey brand, in
Right.
2007, when they came up with their IPO, the total valuation of the company was 400 crores. Today, it is being traded at close to 40,000 crore market cap, and 1 crore investment has become 88 crores. So all of these companies, which we considered multi-baggers or blue chips, were also SME companies at any given point of time. Now,
Mm.
what we have seen in our research, like from if we talk about Maruti, so from 3,600 crores to 45,000 crore, your first 13x got formed in first 6 years, giving you a CAGR return of 52%. And then from 45,000 crore till 5 lakh 25,000 crore. So this next journey of 12x to 13x, it
Right.
took them almost three time from a tenure perspective. Rather than 6 year, it has taken them 16, 17 years. And
O-
the CAGR return has become one third, basically dropping from 52% to 17% now.
Okay.
Similarly, PH industry from 400 crores to 13,000 crores. In first 7 years, it got like first 33x got formed, giving a CAGR return of 65%. But then from 13,000 to 39,000 crore, next 3x got formed in 11 years, giving a CAGR return of only 10%.
Okay.
Same with the Divis laboratory from 140 crore to 8,400 crore. First 60x got formed in first 5 years. But
O-
then from 8,400 crore also, the company grew to catch a market cap of 1,75,000 crore. But next 21x got formed in 17 years, giving a CAGR return of 20%.
Okay.
Now, we actually, what we basically do is that this is what basically the thesis of our fund. Like we want to invest in companies early, where the market cap is less than 1,000 crore or less than 3,000 crore. And we want to remain invested in a company for at least 4 to 7 years so that we give them enough time for them to prosper. If and post that we basically come out from 8,400 crores, as we can see, like the Divis laboratory or the other cases, the CAGR returns initially what we can generate is much higher than the investing in companies which are basically of the small cap category, where your market cap is more than 10,000 crore. Then obviously, because your size has become big, you will not be able to scale as fast as you can do it in the smaller companies. And that is the basic agenda of our investment or the strategy of the fund. Now, as you were also talking, so SMEs, if we talk more, so SMEs contribute 30% to our GDP, 36% to manufacturing, 44% to export, and 12 crore people are employed
Right.
through SMEs. If we compare this with startups, startups contribute 0.3% to the GDP, and they employ close to 17 lakh people, which is one and not even 1.5% of what how much employment these SME companies are giving.
Okay.
What we are trying to say, like SME startups get a lot of PR. Even if they are getting funded, they are getting a lot of PR.
Right.
Even if the company is not producing cash flow, even if they are loss-making companies. Here in these SMEs, you will not see companies which are not profitable. You will see companies which are actually scaling their businesses very fast. These are already profitable companies listed on the exchange. We don't have any liquidity problem. You can buy and sell these share at any given point of time, and they play a very big role in all of the departments, be it employment, exports, manufacturing, even to the GDP. And that is the reason even Indian government understand the contribution of SMEs. A lot of focus right now from the last 12 years from the government of India is on manufacturing. Be it Make in India, One District, One Program, PLI scheme, 50,000 crore fund, which has been set up as Self-Reliant India Fund, which is basically to put money into SMEs. Similarly, there is Section 43BH, which has been introduced to basically provide payments to the SME suppliers within 45 days so that their credit cycle has been reduced by
Okay.
the bigger companies. So government is actually doing a lot to support these SMEs because they also understand these SME companies only will become bigger in size and they will basically contribute. Now this sorry,
Yeah.
this was the first section of our presentation. Now I'll talk about in the second section I'll talk about us, about the team, what we do, how do we do. So basically, as I earlier mentioned, that I'm one of the fund managers and the CEO of the company. This is our flagship AIF fund, and we are providing opportunities which are yet not available readily in the market.
Okay.
Apart from this, we also run a platform in the name of Planify, where people can come in and invest in the unlisted stocks. So while working in the unlisted stocks, so that platform is one of the India's biggest platform. You have more than 1,000 plus offerings on that platform. And while working on that platform in the unlisted space, there are four categories. One is pre-IPO, second is SMEs, third is your delisted stocks, and the fourth one is your startups. While working in this space, we actually realize that there is a l- so while working on this, we basically realize. Just give me one moment.
Yeah, yeah.
We basically realize that there is a lot of potential in SME space, and that is the reason we took the license from SEBI, and we have brought in the first fund in the SME space. Uh,
Okay.
so apart from me in the investment committee, we also have two key members. First is Ishima. She is our chief investment officer. So before joining us, she was earlier part of ENY, which is Ernest and Young, which is one of the big four companies, and
Okay.
she was heading the valuations for European region for ENY.
Okay.
So we basically she so in Europe we have different countries working in different kind of markets. Like in Germany, we say engineering good work is very good. In France, there is consumer discretionary. Your perfume bottles, wine bottles, fast fashion, everything comes from France. UK is famous for financial services. Italy is famous for Italian leather, Italian wood, Italian furniture, Italian food. So to assess those businesses, you need to go deep, understand the business valuations, do the due diligence. So Ishma is very proficient in doing all of that stuff. That is the reason she is the CIO of the company. Also, another key member is Manish Nath. So again, he is part of the investment committee. And before joining us, he for almost 20 years he has worked on New York Stock Exchange in a hedge fund named Arkstone Capital. So
Okay.
Arkstone Capital had a fund in the name of Passage to India Opportunity Fund, and this Passage to India Opportunity Fund basically helped investors invest in micro caps and SMEs even 10, 15 years back. So just to give a context, so he invested in Jyoti Resin, PD Light, Reflex, Worry Renewables, even Astral Pipe through this fund.
Okay.
Just to name a few companies, like in so Jyoti Resin, if someone would have invested 1 crore in 2013, today that 1 crore is being valued at close to 700 crores.
Okay.
Similarly, if someone would have invested 1 crore in Astral Pipe, it is being valued close to 200 crores right now. So he invested in Astral Pipe at 300 crore valuation, and today the valuation of the company is close to 60,000 crore market cap.
Right.
Similarly, Worry Renewables I have already discussed earlier. So he has generated extraordinary returns for the investor, due to which he is ranked number one AIF fund manager across the world. So I'm
Okay.
not talking only in India, but across the world, he is ranked number one AIF fund manager. So we basically three formulate the investment strategy, investment thesis, and finally take a call which companies we should invest and which companies we should avoid. Then we also have the complete research team, and it's a very senior team which we are having. Like Atinder, he is having more than 14 years of experience before joining us. So he basically heads our risk department to
Okay.
do the forensic due diligence. So I'll also talk about the risk later in our slides.
Okay.
Similarly, we also have sector by sector analysts. These folks keep on analyzing the companies. Then we have the complete. So we have a complete in-house tech team, marketing team, finance team. Everyone sits out at Gurgaon. So there are about close to 80 people who sits in Gurgaon. And
Okay.
then we also have presence in BKC Mumbai. We have presence in Pune, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, Nasik, Lucknow, Ludhiana, Jalandhar, Kolkata, and we are trying to open few more spaces. We are trying to open at few more places so that we'll be present primarily in tier one, tier two cities. Then the first go in 20 to 25 cities, and then we will take the things eventually forward. Uh, so this is pretty much about the team. Now I'll talk about the strategy what we use in our fund. How do we invest?
Okay.
So first of all, let's break down and see how the market cap. If we generally people say that top 50 companies are in Nifty. So if we actually count down those 50 companies, we'll come down to the market cap of 1,75,000 crore. So next 250 companies are considered to be the part of mid cap. So from mid cap point of view, 1,75,000 crore till 25,000 crore, your mid cap basically gets complete. So
Okay.
next is considered. So government has not given any further definition, but the BSC small cap 500 index is there. So we also consider 500 companies to be part of the small cap. So next 500 companies, if we consider, you will come down from 25,000 crore market cap to 5,000 crore market cap.
Right.
So next, from 1,000 to 5,000 is what we consider as micro caps. We call this as micro caps, and less than 1,000 crore, there are about 3,600 companies. So the most number of companies are actually in micro caps, and that is what we basically focus on. We are also happy to invest in micro caps as well as so apart from SMEs, we are happy to invest even in micro caps. So less than 3,000 crore is what basically we basically target
Okay.
to invest. Now, in our investment approach, it is simple that only four things matter in the market: what to buy, when to buy, how much to buy, and when to exit. So,
Right.
exit is as important as the other three things. So, if I talk about the investment framework, so there are four investing models which are primarily famous. First model we have heard of is value investing, where you do the discounted cash flows, where you discount all the future cash flows of the company of the next 5 years to the present value, and you draw intrinsic value, and accordingly, you basically invest in that company.
Right.
So apart from that, there is relative valuation where you do a lot of comparison on different financial ratios of the companies. So this is basically considered to be a value investing models. Then we also have growth investing models available where Cancelim is very popular, where you basically draw down what are the key factors of the companies which are growing, and you basically chart out companies which are growing at a fast pace so that you can participate there. Then the third investing models are based out of momentum. So there are even mutual funds which have started coming out on momentum investing. And the fourth investing model is on quality of earnings. Like, is the business basically generating cash from operations, or is it because of the investment activities or financing activities they are basically able to generate profits? So
Right.
obviously, operations, of businesses which generate revenue from operations is considered to be the better ones as compared to the other two departments. Until unless you are working in bank, in a sector like banks and NBFCs. So
Right.
apart from that, so these are the four primary models. No, so as an our investment framework, we have amalgamated all these four investing models to come up with a framework which we call it as LMVT. So L goes for leadership, M goes for mode, V goes for valuation, and T goes for tailwind. So in
Okay.
leadership, what we see is the founder, and then his investment team, and then his business. So first most foremost important is keep the pedigree of of the founder. How the founder is, what is his business acumen, what is his basically what is his how is his corporate governance, what is the vision of that founder,
Right.
his management team, and how proficient are they. So this basically get formulated in the leadership part. Then comes moat. Basically, in moat, you basically see what is the key differentiating factor of that business. It could be the product, it could be economy of scale due to which they are able to generate products at a lower cost than their other peers.
Got it.
It could be even license, IP, patent, some network effect, where which is uh, or even the business model, due to which other businesses cannot enter that business very easily. So this basically safeguards your business. So this is again very important for us. Third is valuation, and the which I have already talked about, and the last one is the tailwind.
O-
Like right now, whole of the world or the sovereigns, where are they focusing? If we talk about the world right now, whole of the world is directed on AI, artificial intelligence. And if we talk about Indian sovereign, Indian government, right now they are focused on manufacturing, they are focused on defense, they are focused on infrastructure, railways, as well as power. So in power, all the three things, be it power generation, power storage, power distribution. So all of these sectors we also like where Indian government is trying to take our country to the next level. So the idea is to be a part of these businesses for the next 4 to 7 years and remain invested in these companies. So now I'll talk about in detail about the risk part. So first of all, a lot of time people confuses SMEs with penny stocks. So penny stocks have not or SMEs have nothing to do with penny stocks. Penny stocks are the companies which may not be even operational, which may not be even generating any revenue or profits. Those type of companies, if they matlab, if there is any pump and dump, any operator comes in, he basically try to pump the stock price and then pass it on to the other investor. That is your penny stocks.
Okay.
Now, SME companies are already profitable companies. These are revenue generating companies. These are growing businesses. If there will be any penny stock, that will get sieved out in our investment framework itself. So that is not basically a risk. So what are the risks while you invest in any business? So primarily there are two type of risk which are inherently when we invest in any business, be it small or be it large. We have seen the biggest of the companies like Satyam, ILFS Transportation, DHFL, CCD going bust. And
Right.
the prime reason of these companies going bust is either there was problem of managing debt, that these companies took a lot of debt, or the problem is with their corporate governance. So checking debt is quite easy. You can just see the balance sheet, see the creditors, see the debt, and you can easily make out whether the company will be is having a lot of debt in their books or not.
Right.
So, but the other part, the corporate governance part, like basically हिंदी में हम बोलते हैं नियत कैसी है फाउंडर की. So it that is basically a bit more tricky to judge. So for that we have come up with their framework with our framework. We call this as LFOT. So
Okay.
L goes for legal, F goes for financial, O goes for on-field, and T goes for technology.
Got it.
So basically, to check the corporate governance, there are proper certifications. There is forensic due diligence approach to basically guard out ki how what is the pedigree of the founder. First is you see the legal due diligence. In legal due diligence, you check whether the founder is having any criminal track record, if the company is doing all the compliances with the income tax department, with the GST department, or any other sector where they are working, whether they are fulfilling that. The companies which are not very good in corporate governance, in the legal due diligence, we basically sieve them out. We basically filter them out. Then comes the financial due diligence. Now, this is a very vast topic, be it the qualitative side, be it the quantitative side. So in the qualitative side, you basically go and check whether there is any cash adjustment happening by the founders, whether any related party transaction, like where they are trying to just to do to make the transaction, to make the turnover more, to get the more turnover, they're trying to do entries from one company to other company. So you want to avoid those companies.
Okay.
Similarly, unrelated business should not be shown as a part of your business. So there was recently there was one company which came in. They said we are Maharashtra, Mumbai-based company. We basically make semiconductor, and Sachin Tendulkar has invested in us. We said they are very good. Matlab semiconductors. So in India, there are hardly any companies which are actually making semiconductors. But when we opened the books, we realized in accounting they mentioned cashew trading as the part of revenue generation. When we went back and asked them, ki what is cashew trading, matlab, has to do with
Right.
this, hana? So they didn't had any answer with semiconductors, and they never came back.
So
So you
basically,
try,
you meet the management also, before investing, right?
right. So
Okay.
any founder, wherever we invest, so we go and check the plant, we go and meet the management. And we keep on doing that every 6 to 9 months. We try to take feedbacks from customers, from their vendors, so that we again understand how the ground reality वहीं पता लगती है where you go and actually visit their plant.
गॉट इट। जस्ट
The
एक
la-
क्वेश्चन मेरे माइंड में आ रहा था, सॉरी टू कट यू। जैसे आप 1000 या 2000 करोड़ की मार्केट कैप में इन्वेस्ट करते हो, तो वहाँ पे पंप एंड डंप हो सकता है बाय ऑपरेटर या नहीं हो सकता?
वहां हो सकता है, पंप
राइट।
एंड डंप हो सकता है,
हो सकता है।
बट ऐसी कंपनी में हम इन्वेस्ट ही नहीं करेंगे जहां पर रेवेन्यू ही नहीं जनरेट हो रहा होगा। हम ऐसी कंपनी में इन्वेस्ट ही नहीं करेंगे जहां कोई हमें समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है वो बिजनेस, मतलब इन द सेंस कि कुछ है ही नहीं है उस बिजनेस में।
गॉट इट, गॉट इट, ठीक है।
तो वैसी ही सीव आउट हो जाएगी, फिल्टर आउट हो जाएगी।
गॉट
एंड द
इट।
लास्ट कम्स दिस टेक्नोलॉजी ड्यू डिलिजेंस।
ओके।
आप सब चीजें चेक करते हैं कि ऑर्डर बुक चेक करना, एलओआई चेक करना उनके, अगर टेक्नोलॉजी में उनके पास कोई पेटेंट है, आईपी है, लाइसेंस है, ये सारी चीजें चेक करके ही आप बाद में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं। इससे आप इनहेरेंटली अपना रिस्क काफी कम कर देते हैं। देखिए 1417 कंपनी जो अभी तक लिस्ट हुई हैं उसमें से सिर्फ 19 कंपनी हैं जो बैंकरप्ट गई हैं। तो बैंकरप्ट देखा जाए तो सिर्फ 1% ऑफ द कंपनीज हैव गॉन बैंकरप्ट, विच इज वेरी लेस, विच इज मतलब फेयर। बट अगेन आप ऐसी कंपनीज को अवॉइड करने के लिए जब इतना ड्यू डिलीजेंस कर लेते हैं तो देन आप इंश्योर कर लेते हैं कि आप ऐसी किसी भी कंपनी में मत फंसे, या मतलब आपके चांसेस काफी कम हो जाते हैं।
गॉट इट।
ओवरऑल आइडिया क्या है कि हमें हाई ग्रोथ बिजनेसेस में जहां पे हमें एक अच्छी कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस मिलती हो, जहां पे हमें एक समझ में आता हो कि नेक्स्ट 4 to 7 years में ये कितना बड़ा बिजनेस बन सकता है, ऐसे बिजनेसेस का पार्ट बनना है। नाउ वी डू ऑफ द फंड साइज, हम 0.5 से 2% तक इन्वेस्ट करते हैं किसी भी फंड, किसी भी कंपनी में। हमारा जनरली एक्सपोजर 1 से 1.25% रहता है। इससे क्या फायदा मिलता है कि हमें पता चल जाता है, लाइक वी आर एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड इवन इफ सो वी विल एंड अप गेटिंग ऑलमोस्ट 80 कंपनीज इन आर पोर्टफोलियो।
ओके।
तो आप ओवर एक्सपोज नहीं होते। अब लास्ट ईयर जैसे इंडिया पाकिस्तान का आउट ऑफ नोवेयर लड़ाई का हो गया, इस
राइट।
साल इसराइल ईरान हो गया, या पहले वेनेजुला हो गया, या ग्रीनलैंड की बातें हो गई, तो और या फिर ट्रम्प के टैरिफ वॉर्स हो गए। तो एट टाइम्स अगर आप ज्यादा कंसंट्रेटेड 5-10% 15% का एक ही कंपनी में बैट ले लेते हैं, और ड्यू टू एनी XYZ रीजंस उस कंपनी पे या उस सेक्टर पे अगर प्रेशर आ जाए, तो आपका पोर्टफोलियो हमेशा अंडर परफॉर्म करता है। जब आप अपने कंपनीज को डाइवर्सिफाई करके डिफरेंट डिफरेंट सेक्टर्स में डाल देंगे, तो अगर कोई 2-4 कंपनीज में इम्पैक्ट आ भी जाए, तब भी आपका पोर्टफोलियो अंडर परफॉर्म नहीं करता, क्योंकि आपका एक्सपोजर बहुत ज्यादा नहीं है।
राइट।
नाउ फ्रॉम डील सोर्सिंग पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, वी गेट ऑल दीज कंपनीज थ्रू मर्चेंट बैंकर्स। तो मर्चेंट बैंकर इज अ पर्सन जो आईपीओ लाते हैं। अब वहीं से ही इंडिया में 382 लाइसेंस जो मर्चेंट बैंकर्स हैं, जिसमें से 40 मर्चेंट बैंकर्स ब्रिंग 98% ऑफ द आईपीओ। हम उन 40 के 40 मर्चेंट बैंकर्स के साथ काम करते हैं।
ओके।
तो 25% of the total money goes in the pre-IPO stage, 50% of the money go in the IPO stage जहां हमें confirmed allotment मिलती है, and 25% of the money goes in the secondary stage. ओवरऑल हमने अभी तक 1000 कंपनीज चेक की हैं, जिसमें से 31 कंपनीज में तो ऑलमोस्ट 3% ही कंपनीज हम फिल्टर आउट करके इन्वेस्ट कर पाए हैं। हमने क्या पहले देखा था कि 25% ऑफ द कंपनीज हैव गिवन अ रिटर्न ऑफ मोर देन 30% CAGR, पर उस 25% का भी आगे फर्दर 1/8 वी आर एबल टू ओनली इन्वेस्ट इन, और जहां पर हमें लगता है कि अच्छी ग्रोथ, एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी ग्रोथ हो सकती है। दीज आर सम ऑफ द कंपनीज वेयर वी हैव इन्वेस्टेड, जस्ट टू नेम अ फ्यू। लेकिन जेडी केबल वी इन्वेस्टेड इन प्री आईपीओ, ₹116 पे हमने इन्वेस्ट किया, 142 पे आईपीओ आया। आज ये शेयर तकरीबन 180, 90, 200 खड़ा है। तो भी हम इन्वेस्टेड हैं। सो वी आर नॉट इन फॉर ऑलमोस्ट अ 70-80% गेन, वी आर इन फॉर अ कंपनी जहां पर हम 10x, 20x, 50x और इवन 100x काइंड ऑफ रिटर्न देखते हैं इन नेक्स्ट 7-8 years। सो
गॉट इट।
एमबी इलेक्ट्रो सिस्टम इज इन्वेस्टेड इन अ प्री आईपीओ स्टेज, जहां पे मधु केला जी ने हमारे साथ 34 करोड़ रुपीज इस कंपनी में इन्वेस्ट किया है। तो ये
ओके।
बेसिकली प्रोपल्शन सिस्टम्स बनाती है रेलवे इंजन के। इन इंडिया देर आर ओनली 2 कंपनीज विच बेसिकली फॉर्म प्रोपल्शन सिस्टम्स। तो
ओके।
वन इज एमबी इलेक्ट्रो सिस्टम, द अदर वन इज मेधा। तो ये दोनों की दोनों कंपनीज अभी अनलिस्टेड है। सिमिलरली थर्ड कंपनी केवी टॉयज, तो ये इसमें विजय केडिया जी ने, तो दीज आर ऑल पॉपुलर नेम्स, बीट मधु केला जी, आशीष कचोलिया, विजय केडिया जी, सुनील
ओके।
सिंघानिया जी। बहुत बार हमारी कंपनीज की जब हम इन्वेस्टमेंट कर रहे होते तो दीज फोक्स आर ऑल्सो इन्वेस्टिंग अलॉन्ग विद अस।
ओके।
तो केवी टॉयज में विजय केडिया जी ने हमारे साथ इन्वेस्ट किया था। तो दिस कंपनीज आप एनीवेयर बिटवीन 30-40% बाय द आईपीओ। बट द आइडिया इज अगेन, क्योंकि जिस हिसाब से ग्रोथ ट्रेजेक्टरी है, इंडिया में तकरीबन 7 करोड़ मैरिजेस होती हैं और 10 करोड़ आबादी, पॉपुलेशन हमारी हर साल बढ़ जाती है। और टॉय
राइट।
की 30,000 करोड़ की इंडस्ट्री है, और अभी कोई 300 करोड़ रेवेन्यू करने वाली भी कंपनी नहीं है। तो इंडस्ट्री बहुत ही फास्ट पेस पे ग्रो कर रही है, और यहाँ पे हमें लगता है कि जो भी कंपनीज आएंगी दे कैन एक्चुअली डू वेरी वेल।
तो ये सब जो कंपनीज आप बता रहे हो, इसमें आपने पैसे लगाए हुए हैं थ्रू योर
ऑलरेडी
वेंचर
थ्रू द
एक्स फंड?
फंड। यस।
ओके।
सिमिलरली जैसे स्काई वन एयरवेज है, स्काई वन एयरवेज में हमने 300 करोड़ की वैल्यूएशन पे प्री आईपीओ में इन्वेस्टमेंट किया है।
ओके।
एक्सपेक्टेड है कि कमिंग फाइनेंशियल ईयर में इसका जब आईपीओ आएगा तो तब फाउंडर तकरीबन 1,200 करोड़ की वैल्यूएशन टारगेट कर रहे हैं, जिसपे वो अपना आईपीओ लाएंगे। तो आईपीओ के बाद भी हम कंपनी में इन्वेस्टेड रहेंगे, चाहे चार चार 400% आपका रिटर्न बन गया एक साल में, तब भी आप इन्वेस्टेड रहते हैं, क्योंकि उसके बाद जो एक्चुअली में आईपीओ प्रोसीड से पैसा मिलता है, वो जब वो वापस बिजनेस में डलता है तो उससे ज्यादा ग्रोथ आती है बिजनेस में।
गॉट इट। ठीक है।
Now comes the last part where we talk about the structure of the fund.
ओके।
So, lot of times people ask कि राजेश, एआईएफ में इन्वेस्टमेंट कर रहे हैं कि कहीं पैसे तो नहीं लेके भाग जाओगे। तो वी हैव टू मेक देम अंडरस्टैंड कि एआईएफ्स आर एज वेल प्रोटेक्टेड एज योर म्यूचुअल फंड्स। तो जैसे म्यूचुअल फंड में जो स्ट्रक्चर होता है, एआईएफ में भी सेम स्ट्रक्चर है। तो म्यूचुअल फंड में हम क्या देखते हैं, कस्टोडियन है, विच वेयर ऑल द असेट्स, बी इट द कैश, बी इट द स्टॉक्स, एवरीथिंग इज विद द कस्टोडियन। तो ये कस्टोडियन भी सेबी अपॉइंट करता है। तो फंड मैनेजर और द एएमसी डज नॉट हैव एक्सेस टू इवन 5 पैसा इन द ऑफ द दिस असेट्स।
राइट।
सिमिलरली फंड अकाउंटिंग थर्ड पार्टी करती है, सो दैट आपकी जो एनएवी कंप्यूट हो उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम्स ना हो। आरटीए जो यहाँ पर यूनिट्स एलोकेट करके डीमैट में डाले जाते हैं। म्यूचुअल फंड्स में तो ऑप्शन होती है कि आपको डीमैट में चाहिए या नहीं, यहाँ पे मैंडेटरीली डीमैट में डाले जाते हैं, ये भी थर्ड पार्टी करती है, अगेन ताकि कोई पार्शलिटीज ना हो।
राइट।
सिमिलरली केवाईसी जो है, ये भी थर्ड पार्टी करती है। गवर्नमेंट के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग, गलत पैसा मार्केट में ना आए। तो दो ही मेन बड़े प्लेयर हैं, कैम्स और के फिनटेक। वी हैव गॉन विद के फिनटेक, दे प्रोवाइड अस दीज सर्विसेज। बिटकॉन इज बेसिकली अ ट्रस्टी विच इज लाइक आवर सुपर बॉस, विच एक्चुअली सी कि हम सारे कंप्लायंसेस फॉलो कर रहे हैं या नहीं। इस स्ट्रक्चर से फायदा क्या होता है, जैसे रिलायंस म्यूचुअल फंड इतना बड़ा एएमसी था, दे सोल्ड इट आउट टू निपॉन इंडिया, तो इन्वेस्टर का मनी बिल्कुल सेफ रहा। एल एन टी म्यूचुअल फंड दे मेड एन एग्जिट, और वो एचएसबीसी म्यूचुअल फंड बन गया
राइट।
बाद में। इन्वेस्टर का पैसा सारा सेफ रहा। तो सिमिलरली अगर कोई एएमसी अगर कल को एग्जिट भी करती है तो दूसरा एएमसी उसको आके टेक ओवर कर लेता है, इन्वेस्टर का मनी सेफ रहता है इसमें। नाउ
गॉट
दिस
इट।
इज गोइंग टू बी 500। सो हमने जो सेबी में रजिस्टर किया है वो 500 करोड़ का फंड रजिस्टर किया है। ऑल्दो आर प्लान इज टू एक्सटेंड इट, तो हम सेबी में एप्लीकेशन दे देंगे तो उसको हम एक्सटेंड भी कर सकते हैं 1,000 करोड़ तक।
गॉट
एंड इट्स अ सिंपल एप्लीकेशन। सिमिलरली जो हमने वहां पर लिख कर दिया है, ये 10 + 2 years 12 years का लिख कर दिया है। ऑल्दो वी फील द फंड विल क्लोज डाउन इन 7 to 8 years, मैं उसके बारे में भी बात करता हूँ। सो
ठीक
वी
है।
ड्रॉ डाउन द मनी, 10% ऑफ द मनी वी ड्रॉ डाउन एवरी क्वार्टर फॉर 10 quarters।
ओके।
तो इसको थोड़ा सा एक एग्जाम्पल से समझ लेते हैं। तो 8 years का ये चार्ट है। तो हम
ठीक है।
10% ऑफ द कमिटेड कैपिटल हर क्वार्टर ड्रॉ डाउन करते हैं 10 quarters के लिए। तो मान लीजिए किसी ने 1 करोड़ का कमिटमेंट किया है, तो 10% मतलब हो गया 10 लाख रुपीज पर क्वार्टर। तो 10 क्वार्टर्स का मतलब क्या है कि पहले साल में 4 क्वार्टर है तो 40 लाख, सेकेंड ईयर में अगेन 4 क्वार्टर्स हैं तो 40 लाख, इन नाइन्थ एंड 10th क्वार्टर द रिमेनिंग 20 लाख। तो ये 1 करोड़ का इन्वेस्टमेंट हो गया। और उसको हम जनरली वही 4 to 7 years, तो 2.5 years से हम जब भी स्टॉक मार्केट में एक्सपोजर लेते हैं, हम बोलते हैं कि आपका कम से कम 5 साल का एक्सपोजर होना चाहिए। तो 2.5 years + 5 years is basically your 7.5 years, and that is where all of these companies will get liquidated. Now, why 8 year cycle? So let's go back to September 2024।
ओके।
यूएस का डेट क्राइसिस बेसिकली वहां से अनवील हुआ है, पिछले 1.5 साल से मार्केट तब से करेक्ट ही कर रही है।
राइट।
हम उससे 8 साल पहले चलते हैं, 2016 में डिमोनेटाइजेशन हुआ था। 8 नवंबर 2016 को डिमोनेटाइजेशन हुआ था। और 2017 में जीएसटी इंप्लीमेंटेशन हुआ था, उसकी वजह से मार्केट में करेक्शन आया था। आठ
राइट।
साल पहले और चलते हैं, 2008 में यूएस का सब प्राइम क्राइसिस आया था। मार्केटें गिरी थी, लेमन ब्रदर्स फेल हुआ था, तब भी मार्केट करेक्ट हुई थी। 8 इयर्स और बिफोर चलती हैं, आईटी बबल बर्स्ट हुआ था 2000 में, 8 इयर्स और पीछे चलते हैं, 92 93 में हर्षद मेहता का केस हुआ था, 8 इयर्स और पीछे चलते हैं, 1984 में इंदिरा गांधी का असैसिनेशन हुआ था। एवरी टाइम दैट लेड टू मार्केट करेक्शन। और
राइट।
व्हाट वी हैव सीन कि जब भी ऐसा करेक्शन आता है फॉर फर्स्ट नेक्स्ट 2 3 इयर्स,
राइट।
मार्केट्स बेसिकली कंसोलिडेट। तो मार्केट सिर्फ
ओके।
कंसोलिडेट करती है, कोई बहुत रिटर्न नहीं बनाती। तो इसमें वीक हैंड्स काफी निकल जाते हैं, और स्ट्रॉन्ग हैंड्स आकर जब जब जैसे जैसे मार्केट को सपोर्ट करना शुरू करते हैं, दैट बेसिकली लेड यू टू अ ग्रोथ फेज, एंड फाइनली इट इज इन द बुल रन देर इज अ यूफोरिक फेज, जहां पर शेयर्स के रेट, वही शेयर्स जो आपने 2001 से, अगर एग्जांपल में 2001 से 3 में अगर आपने अकोमुलेट किए, या 9 से 11 में अकोमुलेट किए, या 17 से 19 में अकोमुलेट किए, तो 2007-8 की रैली, 2015-16 की रैली, 2023-24 की रैली में वही शेयर आपके 10x 20x 50x और इवन 100x भी बने हैं। तो उसी मार्केट की साइक्लिसिटी को हम प्ले कर रहे हैं। जब
करेक्ट।
मार्केट में ज्यादा यूफोरिया होता है, बट वी हैव सीन कि 10 15 20 की पी वाले शेयर ही 50 की पी, 70 की पी, 100 की पी भी पे भी ट्रेड होने लगता है। तो
करेक्ट।
दैट इज वेयर वी बेसिकली ट्राई टू बुक द प्रॉफिट एंड रिटर्न द मनी बैक टू द इन्वेस्टर्स.
गॉट इट।
So now if we see the classes distribution, so 2% is the management fees, which is on the commitment amount, and 20% is the profit sharing model on a 12% hurdle.
ओके।
So any if a investor is coming with a 10 crore investment amount, तब उसका management fees 1.5%, और प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग 15%, और 50 करोड़ पे ये 1% और 10% है.
ओके।
Now this is considered to be a 220 model, which is very popular across the industry. 90% of the funds come on this 220 मॉडल. जनरली अगर आप देखेंगे, अगेन म्यूचुअल फंड्स में आपने देखा होगा एयूएम पे फीस चार्ज की जाती है, इवन पीएमएस में बहुत बार एयूएम पे फीस चार्ज की जाती है.
करेक्ट।
नाउ दैट इज नॉट कंसिडर्ड टू बी द मोस्ट ट्रांसपेरेंट मेथड ऑफ इन्वेस्टिंग. दिस मॉडल इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी द मोस्ट ट्रांसपेरेंट मेथड ऑफ इन्वेस्टिंग. वॉरेन बफे 75-25% प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग करते हैं ऑन अ 6% हर्डल. नो व्हाई दिस इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी द मोस्ट ट्रांसपेरेंट मेथड?
ओके।
एयूएम में क्या है? मान लीजिए 1 करोड़ के ऊपर 2% अगर फीस लग रही है, 2 लाख रुपए की फीस लग रही है, आपका 1 करोड़ का इन्वेस्टमेंट 10 करोड़ हुआ, तो वो 2 लाख रुपए की फीस 20 लाख रुपए हो गई. बट क्योंकि वो एनएवी में एडजस्ट हो रही है, दिख नहीं रही, बट फीस लग रही है. 1.5 साल से म्यूचुअल फंड परफॉर्म नहीं कर रहे, इनफैक्ट नेगेटिव रिटर्न्स दे रहे हैं, तब भी फीस लग रही है.
करेक्ट।
नाउ हाउ इट इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम, और इसी वजह से म्यूचुअल फंड में आपने हमेशा पैरोगेटिव क्या सुना होगा, कि आप इन्वेस्टेड रहिए. आपको
राइट।
10 साल के लिए, 15 साल के लिए, 20 साल के लिए, 30 साल के लिए हमेशा बोला जाएगा कि आप हमेशा स्टॉक मार्केट में बने रहिए. रीजन, क्योंकि एएमसी को पता है कि जिस दिन इन्वेस्टर अपना पैसा विड्रॉल कर लेगा, उस दिन उनको फीस बननी बंद हो जाएगी. नाउ
करेक्ट।
यही यहां पर अगर हम बात करें एआईएफ्स में, यहां पे आप सही टाइम पे एग्जिट करके इन्वेस्टर को पैसा वापस करते हो. याद होगा हमने पहले बात करी थी कि 4 चीजें हैं मैटर करती,
राइट।
उसमें एग्जिट भी उतना ही इंपॉर्टेंट है जितनी बाकी की 3 चीजें हैं. तो
करेक्ट।
यहां पर सही टाइम पे एग्जिट करना, लाइक हमने प्लानिफाई में बिटवीन February 2024 टिल जुलाई 2024 तकरीबन 90% 95% ऑफ आर इक्विटी हमने लिक्विडेट कर दी थी. तो फंड मैनेजर को पता है कि अगर वो 100 रुपए पे एग्जिट करेगा, तो उसको 20 बिनेंगे. आज वही शेयर इज डाउन एनीवेयर बाय 40 to 65%. यही अगर वो 60 रुपए पे एग्जिट करेगा, तो उसको 12 बचेंगे. तो अपने 12 के 20 बनाने के चक्कर में फंड मैनेजर इन्वेस्टर के भी का भी भला करता है, जिसमें इन्वेस्टर को 48 की बजाय 80 रुपीज बचते हैं. तो इसकी वजह से ये मोस्ट ट्रांसपेरेंट मेथड की सही टाइम पे एग्जिट करके पैसा वापस कर दिया जाता है. और जब वो 1 करोड़ जब अकाउंट में जितना भी हिट हो, चाहे वो 5 करोड़ हो, 10 करोड़ हो, जब वो हिट होगा तो इन्वेस्टर एक्चुअली में यूज भी करेगा उस पैसे को. एटलीस्ट कुछ तो खर्चा करेगा अपने ऊपर, अदरवाइज वो पेपर में ही सिर्फ वैल्यू बढ़ती रहती है.
करेक्ट। एंड द
इसी
हर्डल
वजह से
रेट इज
इसको,
ऑल्सो 12% here, राइट?
राइट राइट. So
ओके।
mostly in India, 90% of your funds actually come on 8% hurdle or a 10% hurdle.
राइट।
Only
करेक्ट।
5% of the funds actually do 12% compounded
करेक्ट।
return of 12% hurdle. तो हमने 12% का compounded hurdle रखा है.
गॉट इट। ठीक है।
Then comes एक इसको कपल ऑफ एग्जांपल से समझ लेते हैं कि ये प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग और ये कैसे चीज रहती है। मान लीजिए आपने 1 करोड़ का इन्वेस्टमेंट किया, लेट से फंड के एंड में वो 6 करोड़ बन गया, तो 1 करोड़ तो इन्वेस्टर का प्रिंसिपल था, वो वापस जाएगा पहले। 5 करोड़ का प्रॉफिट है, उसमें से 80% इन्वेस्टर को चला जाएगा। मीन्स 4 करोड़ इन्वेस्टर को चला गया और 1 करोड़ फंड को चला गया। तो इन्वेस्टर के पास 1 करोड़ ऑफ प्रिंसिपल एंड 4 करोड़ ऑफ प्रॉफिट, 5 करोड़ आ गए, और फंड के पास 1 करोड़ चला गया। इसको अनदर एग्जाम्पल हर्डल रेट के हिसाब से भी समझ लेते हैं। मान लीजिए कोई 100 रुपीज, हमारे 200 रुपीज बन रहे हैं एक साल में। तो हर्डल कैसे वर्कआउट करती है, पहले तो प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट जाएगा 100 रुपीज का। तो
राइट।
इन्वेस्टर के पास 100 रुपीज का प्रॉफिट है। अब इस 100 रुपीज के प्रॉफिट में पहले 12 रुपए इन्वेस्टर को पे कर दिए जाएंगे, नेक्स्ट 3 रुपीज फंड को पे कर दिए जाएंगे। तो अभी तक हमने प्रॉफिट के 15 रुपए डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किए हैं। 15 रुपए का अगर मैं 20% करूं, तो 15 रुपए का 10% 1.5 रुपीज है।
राइट।
15 रुपए का 20% 3 रुपीज है। तो हमने 3 रुपीज फंड को दिए। और 15 रुपए का 80% अगर 3 इंटू 4 कर लें, बेसिकली 20 इंटू 4 80 हो गया, 3 इंटू 4 हो गया तो वो 12 हो गया। तो 15 रुपए का 80% इज 12। पंद्रह
राइट।
रुपए का 80% 12 है। वो
ट्वेल्व।
हमने पहले इन्वेस्टर को दे दिए। तो अभी तक का 80-20 हो गया, जो रिमेनिंग 85 रुपीज है। अब जो 85 रुपीज का अगेन 10% कर लेते हैं, 8.5। तो एट
राइट।
एंड हाफ प्लस 8.5 बिकम 17 विच इज योर 20%। 20 इंटू 4 80 है, वैसे 17 इंटू 4 68 विच बिकम्स योर 80%। तो 85 का 80% 68 इन्वेस्टर को चला गया, 20% फंड को चला गया। तो इन्वेस्टर के हिसाब से देखें तो 68 प्लस 12 80 उसको प्रॉफिट का आ गया, 17 प्लस 3 फंड को चला गया। इन्वेस्टर के लिए अगर प्रिंसिपल ऐड कर दें 100 रुपीज का, तो 180 रुपीज टोटल उसको मिल गए और 20 रुपीज फंड को मिल गए।
गॉट इट।
अभी तक हम क्लोज टू 250 करोड़ हम गार्नर कर पाए हैं इस फंड में, हार्ड कमिटमेंट्स में। एंड वी हैव रिसीव्ड क्लोज टू 85 करोड़, इन विच वी हैव डिप्लॉयड क्लोज टू 65 करोड़। तो हम 20 करोड़ के कैश पे बैठे हैं। अभी जैसे मार्केट गिरा है तो इसमें भी हमारी एक्टिवली डिप्लॉयमेंट्स चल रही हैं।
ओके।
अगर मैं ऑनबोर्डिंग की बात करूं तो ऑनबोर्डिंग करना काफी इजी है, हमारे पास सारा कुछ डिजिटली है। पीपल कैन कम इन एंड दे कैन प्रोवाइड देयर आधार कार्ड, पैन कार्ड, कैंसर चेक एंड देयर क्लाइंट मास्टर रिपोर्ट ऑफ देयर डीमैट। और ऑनलाइन ही सारा का सारा प्रोसेस हो जाता है। वंस दे अप्रूव, गिव अस द ओटीपीज, गेट दिस थिंग अप्रूव्ड, उसके बाद एक कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन एग्रीमेंट आता है जो 500 रुपए के स्टैम्प पेपर पे आता है। अगेन इन्वेस्टर कैन ई साइन दैट। इवन अगर कोई इन्वेस्टर अपनी कंपनी के थ्रू, प्राइवेट लिमिटेड या एलएलपी कंपनी के थ्रू या कोई माइनर के बिहाफ पे भी इन्वेस्टमेंट करना चाहता है, तो वो सारी ऑप्शन जैसे म्यूचुअल फंड में रहती हैं, वो सारी ऑप्शन यहाँ पर भी अवेलेबल है, एंड देन दे बेसिकली कैन इन्वेस्ट।
गॉट इट।
दिस इज द एंड ऑफ माई प्रेजेंटेशन। इफ यू हैव एनी फर्दर क्वेरीज, लव टू आंसर।
श्योर। आई थिंक यू कैन स्टॉप शेयरिंग योर स्क्रीन। I think you have answered everything and explained your fund very well. Just one thing, one question I have in my mind that the companies that you are जितनी आप companies add कर रहे हो portfolio में around 80 to 90, so is that too much diversification or is it something which is very uh, you
इट
know
इज वेरी मच, मतलब अगर आप किसी भी अच्छे फंड मैनेजर का देखेंगे, इतनी कंपनीज रहती ही हैं। अगर आप इवन म्यूचुअल फंड्स का भी देखेंगे, वहां तो जनरली स्मॉल कैप म्यूचुअल फंड में 200 से 250 कंपनीज रखते हैं वो लोग तो।
correct?
बट इन जनरल अगर आप एक्टिवली फंड मैनेजर्स को देखेंगे तो 80 to 100 कंपनीज इज समथिंग विच इज वेरी नॉर्मल।
Got it. I think then you have explained the fund very well. So if you want to add any closing remarks, otherwise we'll close this.
नहीं, बस बाकी यही चीज समझाना चाहते थे। इनकेस आपके कोई डाउट्स आगे फर्दर आते हैं तो प्लीज फील फ्री टू कनेक्ट विद अस।
Sure. So we have, our audience which watches us like HNI and Ultra HNI audience. So in case any of the investor wants to, get in touch, we'll happy to, host and, we'll connect with the Planify team.
श्योर।
Look forward for future conversations, Rajesh. Thank you so much for being a part of our channel. Thank you.
श्योर। थैंक्स, थैंक्स Gitansh फॉर हैविंग मी। बाय। टेक
Bye.
केयर।
You too.